It is time now, as it's the third Friday of the month, to check in with Dawn Pannell with some Riveting Radio Real Estate. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
And rain out there now.
Yes.
And we are in the middle of fall for sure, and it'll be winter before you know it.
It was, we was kind of up in the air there for a while. It seemed like we wonder if we were going to get any fall, but it's here now.
Yep, it certainly is.
Yes, and winter is close behind. So we started talking a little bit last time about winterizing things, and there's the typical things that you think of, but I got a really cool printout that talks about a few things that you might not think about, so I thought we'd talk about those today.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the first one, which was an eye-opener to me, is to add color. It says that fall is one of the most popular times to paint interior rooms, which makes sense because you're not painting outside because it's too wet, so you're stuck inside, so it's a good time to think about if you need to do some interior painting. And then if you're going to hire somebody to do it, typically they have more time during the fall and winter months because they're not dealing with painting people's outsides, so you can get them usually a little bit better.
And what do you recommend, like in terms of like presentation? Because we've gone through houses that are like very stark color contrast, others more neutral. What shows best to people? What do they seem to like when they're going through a house?
Most people seem to like the kind of the neutrals because then they can visualize their own palettes and their own decorations and that kind of stuff. And they always recommend that you stay away if you're staging your house to stay away from bright colors. But if that's what you have, and if it's in good shape, then
just leave it. Yeah.
Up to you whether you want to repaint it or not.
I was reading Good Housekeeping or one of those magazines the other day, and they were talking about the hot trends for 2020 and the colors.
Right.
And something that really stood out to me, and I almost jumped on it right like that. And then I asked Stephanie, and she said, pump the brakes there, kid. But
maybe not.
What it was the stair banister and the things that are there, black. And I was like, that looks super sharp. I go, picture this. And she could see it. Yeah. But the problem we had is we have carpet right there. Right. And so I don't want to have to like rip up the carpet and then paint everything and then. But that was definitely a color that I never would have thought of to paint the stair.
What is it right now?
The railing. It's just wood.
Right.
Oh,
it's like kind of just the kind of traditional wood color.
Another big trend is wrought iron. The styles of big wrought iron is popular now too. So, but you have to be a little careful. We've talked about this before. Right now everybody wants white kitchens. Well, 5 years ago they wanted all cherry. So those trends tend to go in cycles. So you have
white in terms of the cabinetry.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well. Some people want everything white.
Wow.
I think that's a little stark. Yeah. But there again, 10 years from now, who knows what they're going to want. So you have to kind of be a little cautious about
some of the
jumping on every trend.
Neutral colors are always going to, like sand. Is always going to play.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. I hadn't thought about thinking about that. So.
And I guess too, if you're thinking about this, you're painting in the winter. You're going to have presumably the heat on in your house.
Exactly.
So that'll help to dry.
Yeah. And that's one thing that they didn't talk about in here that I usually try and remind people of, especially if you're listing your house and it's vacant. They always wonder, should I turn off the heat? Well, no. You want to make sure that you leave. You can turn it down certainly, but you want to make sure that you leave enough heat on to make sure that things don't get moldy and that kind of thing. So you always want to, and it's usually a good idea to leave all the utilities on rather than trying to mess with turning them off and then having them turned back on for inspections, that kind of thing. So even though you may end up having to pay the bill for a little while longer, it's a good idea to continue that. So the next thing that they're recommending is to stock up, and we were talking about this a little while ago. Stock up on things like de-icer and baking soda for your roof.
Yeah,
and
got some at Costco.
That kind of thing.
13 pounds.
So this is a good time, and things like flashlight batteries and canned goods and bottled water, that kind of stuff. So they're saying invest in a good snowblower and shovel.
Oh, you got one.
Checkmate. I got mine ready to go.
Good. I think I shared with you last year when I moved into a new place, I got rid of all my shovels because I figured somebody else was taking care of the exterior. I wasn't going to need them, right? Wrong. So I ended up having to dig a little path for my dog to go out with my my cookie sheet.
Oh no!
It was all I had.
That's it.
So I may have to invest in a shovel this year.
Safely cracked out the snow shovels just in the last couple of days.
Did they?
Yeah.
I feel like Caleb was talking the other day about how he heard that this winter could be
colder than last.
Colder, maybe even a
I
little
heard that
worse
too.
than last winter.
Yeah. So this is a good time before we have to start thinking about those things to kind of think through the process of what you might need.
Yeah.
Another one is to clean up clutter. Good time to do that again. You're inside. Good time to do inside type things.
Sure.
So garage is a prime candidate for going through and cleaning out
Cleaned
things.
our garage last weekend.
Very good. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, I can't count the number of times I've seen houses where you couldn't even get in the garage because it was,
You've seen our house?
Full of stuff. Yeah.
Three garbage cans full of.
It's easy to let that kind of get a little out of control. So good time to kind of organize that. Another one is, again, to crank up the heat. It's important to keep things warm. You don't want to cook it out, certainly, but you want to keep it warm. And then they're saying to look at drafts, to fix drafts. It's a good time to notice those things. And again, we've talked about this, that looking at houses in this weather, it's easier to see or to feel things like drafts and things like that. So if you're into this kind of thing, climb up into the attic and check things out there. If you're really ambitious, get under in the crawl space and check things out there. Make sure, good time to check for any leaks before they cause more problems from freezing and thawing. And if you can see chinks in the roof up in the attic, it's probably an indication that there might be some problem with your roof. So good time to check for those things.
Is it only home inspectors that you can call that would come like with the FLIR cameras? Or is that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can see the hot spots or the cool spots?
I know home inspectors have those. I'm not sure if there's any other contractor that would have them as well. But you can certainly call a home inspector to come out and do a home inspection for you as the homeowner.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait until it's a sale.
Because that's separate from like if you're coming to do that zero pressure air stuff. This is totally separate than that.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the PUD I know has the ability to come out and do like an energy audit.
Yeah,
of your
that's
house.
What I'm talking about. Energy audit.
Yeah. So that they would be somebody to call. But as far as the heating or the heat sensor camera, I know that home inspectors have those. I don't know if anybody else does. So
good for ghost hunting too, Spence.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, really.
Right. Who are you going to call? Right.
Looking for
call a home inspector.
That's it.
Mountain lions in the boat.
Do a double duty.
You're
I
right.
think it's haunted, but I also feeling a draft.
Yeah, I'm feeling a draft over here. Right.
Cold spots.
And then the last one is to be ready for a freeze. So things like covering faucets, that kind of stuff. We do have that happen here. Not as much as back east where they're getting the minus numbers. We don't get that very often, but even a 20 or 30 degree temperature can freeze and crack pipes and break pipes, and that can be a terrible mess if that happens. So you want to avoid that if at all possible.
So I put my covers over my faucets the other day. We had that week long where it was pretty chilly, and I had not done it up until then. But if it's up against the house, it's not. We have to have a sustained 20s for like a couple weeks, probably, right?
Probably, but then do you want to take that risk? I don't know.
Exactly.
If
I felt bad enough just waiting a week.
Yeah, right.
I gotta get this done.
Get this done.
Where are these things?
Well, and they have so many things now. They've got the covers, but they've also got the heat tape, and they've got the foam things that are split that you just wrap around the pipes, and it's not a horrendous job to do that. And just to make sure, just for safety's sake and for peace of mind, if nothing else, so you're not going to wake up in the middle of the night with water shooting everywhere. You want to avoid that if you possibly can.
You got these on your website, your Facebook page? Where are these?
I don't have these on there yet, but I will.
Okay.
Yes, but encourage folks to check out that website. We're still doing the tips of different things, and so Dawn Pannell Real Estate on Facebook, check that out. And then my phone number is 360-490-4493. Give me a call, or stop by and see me on the corner of 3rd and Railroad at the John L. Scott office. Would love to see you and talk to you about these things, or if you're looking for a house or want to list your house, happy to help.
Awesome, Dawn. Good to see you.
Thank you. You too.